not be participating in misguided efforts that harm our communities, and I've been incredibly clear about that.
If the Trump administration requests it, would the Massachusetts State Police assist in mass deportations?
No, absolutely not.
The president-elect, former President Trump, his threat is not just towards new arrivals and undocumented families. We're going to stand up, we're going to protect undocumented individuals.
Documented migrants are not your own people, and making sure that they're documented is not the answer. Some of these people are just so stupid. No, you lost me with this one. It's very stupid of you, and it's very stupid of the other Democratic electorates or leaders or whatever you want to call them. It's very stupid. Welcome back to QTV. I'm your host, Quan. And in today's video, we got to talk about the real threat to democracy, the real threat to our livelihood, and the real threat to women. We go on and on about how Trump is the end of women's rights, safety of women. Conservatives are killing women because they voted for Trump. Could be the furthest thing from the truth. And today's video, we're gonna have to unpack some things, but we got two things to talk about: the real threat again, and also I've been hearing a lot about Trump's cabinet picks and how it's different from Biden's cabinet picks. Trump's cabinet has quote unquote no diversity. Really isn't a factor on deciding who you're gonna put in your cabinet, but it was for Biden nonetheless. And I just want to dive right into it. We're not gonna spend too much time on there before we get to who the real threat is. But without further ado, all right. So first up, we got to talk about why there's no diversity. The beef is there's no gay guys, there's no LGBTQ members inside of Trump's cabinet, and then there's no black people. I don't understand why it makes a difference the president to pick this cabinet based on who he believes will be loyal to him. But we're going to talk about Biden's cabinet. I don't know if you guys remember, but I'm going to jog your memories. We're going to look at this guy. And for those liberals who say that there's no diversity and the guys that Trump's picking isn't qualified to be inside his cabinet, but those same people are the ones who had no beef with this guy, or he or they.
Tonight, a Houston woman is making her first TV appearance, claiming an ex-Department of Energy official has been wearing clothes from her missing luggage.
Brighton, arrested a few months ago, was charged with swiping bags from airport carousels. Fox 26's Matthew Seedorf is live at Houston Hobby tonight, speaking exclusively with a fashion designer making these claims. Matthew.
Rashi, Jonathan, everything this woman makes is one of a kind, so now she's pretty confident she knows where her missing clothes ended up. New shocking accusations from a fashion designer in Houston, now claiming these well-documented and photographed clothes of former Department of Energy.
Come on. So you guys don't remember this dude? He on footage, he stole luggage from airports, and he was a repeat offender. And these all one-of-a-kind outfits. This dude was literally at White House pressers and everything, just rocking these stolen clothing. But the people, you got liberals saying that the people inside of Trump's cabinet they're not qualified.
Official Sam Britton are actually hers from a suitcase reported missing from an airport 5 years ago.
When I just Googled him, I saw my outfits on him.
Asha Hamseen, in her first TV interview, speaking with us from a phone in Tanzania.
Oh, she's been working for years.
Her husband in Houston, flipping through Asha's handmade clothing collection.
It's a custom made. She does it herself, like all this, there is no label you say, you can see,
In 2018, Asha had been on a trip to Tanzania for the Lady Red fashion show. While on a layover at Reagan Airport in D.C., she says her checked bag full of one-of-a-kind clothes vanished.
I was crying the whole week because I didn't do the fashion show, and that is in my blood. We tried to look to the camera, and I think we found the bag was on the machine there, but it was disappeared. We didn't know who took it.
Asha filed a lost luggage complaint with Delta Airlines 5 years ago and hadn't received any new information until December while watching Fox News.
Former Department of Energy official Sam Brinton.
The then famous non-binary nuclear waste expert Sam Brinton arrested, accused of stealing suitcases from baggage carousels in Minneapolis and Las Vegas.
I Googled everything, and I saw my clothes, my jewelries.
Okay, so if I was Trump, I wouldn't pick people like this to be in my cabinet anyway. Is the state of Washington D.C. has become way too lax, and you got people essentially being hired. This guy was a nuclear waste official, and you got him satisfying his fetishes by stealing people's luggage from the airport. That's sick in a way. You got. I mean, we're not even gonna get into all the disgusting things that could have happened by, stealing people's luggage from airports. I'm sure that was some kind of way for him to. But in other news, Democrat officials, the Dixiecrats, who just things that they're doing is just, it makes no sense, and it shouldn't be allowed in our country. We, the people, taxpayers, we should also have a say in what goes on inside the country, which is why we vote certain officials and Democratic members to essentially go against the mandate by the people. It's just we're never going to be able to get along or reach a level of commonality if we can't get the people on the other side to actually adhere to the elect and the people who elected them. Migrant crisis, top things that Americans voted for is one of the main reasons why Trump won the election. You got people in these sanctuary cities and these Democratic strongholds who are outright blatantly gonna fight Trump and what he's doing to try to ensure that the illegals are deported and that American citizens are safe, so things like this won't happen.
Shocking testimony in the Laken Riley murder trial revealing that the illegal immigrant charged with her murder landed in Georgia. Listen to this. Thanks to a taxpayer-funded flight. That's your money. It was from the Biden administration that he got this free flight and went down to Georgia. Now, the flight occurred fewer than 6 months before Ibarra allegedly hunted down and killed 22-year-old Laken Riley. And yet, despite the Biden administration's failed policies to keep our border and loved ones safe, Democrats are vowing to fight President-elect Trump's border crackdown. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Kayleigh McEnany here with my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Emily Campagno. Also joining us, Kara Frederick, director of the Tech Policy Center at the Heritage Foundation, and Charles Payne, host of Making Money on Fox Business. Well, we began with Ibarra's roommate testifying that Jose Ibarra was given a free ride to a fancy New York hotel in Georgia on a Biden administration-sponsored flight. He was at the Roosevelt Hotel, then takes a flight from New York to Georgia, where he allegedly kills Laken Riley.
And how did you get to Athens?
¿Y cómo llegaron a Athens?
En Nueva York pedimos en Manhattan.
In New York, we asked in Manhattan.
En el Hotel Roosevelt.
And Hotel Roofing?
Roosevelt.
If anybody is from New York, or we're a Manhattan and know how much it is to stay a night at the Roosevelt Hotel, please drop it in the comment section below, because the Roosevelt Hotel doesn't sound cheap. And on top of things, I'm sure Laken Riley's parents, they're taxpayers. So they essentially paid for a very nice flight to America from where he came from. They funded that flight, which in turn led to what happened to their child.
Roosevelt.
De Manhattan pedimos un vuelo humanitario aquí hasta Atlanta.
In Manhattan, we requested for a humanitarian flight to come here to Atlanta.
A humanitarian flight. Isn't that nice? Well, once in Georgia, prosecutors say he, quote, went hunting for females and allegedly murdered Laken Riley. Now, stories like hers are the driving force behind President-elect Trump's mass deportation plan, but Democrats are vowing to resist it, to fight it, and are apparently more concerned about protecting illegal immigrants than your daughters, your sons, your families.
We will not be participating in misguided efforts that harm our communities, and I've been incredibly clear about that.
If the Trump administration requests it, would the Massachusetts State Police assist in mass deportations?
No, absolutely not.
The president-elect, former President Trump, his threat is not just towards new arrivals and undocumented families. We're going to stand up, we're going to protect undocumented individuals.
When people
I just don't understand why you choose to go against what's helping the citizens of this country, the women of this country, so they don't have to worry about going on jogs and getting hunted down by an illegal. Get them out of the country. I just don't. These guys it's blatant. It's just so open and outright defiant. It makes no sense. We have a president. We have someone who was elected to be president with a mandate by popular vote in electoral. Something should be done about this. The people in your town, your county, your cities, they voted for this guy, and you still choose to go against what the people want. And from your area, Brandon Johnson, you got tons of videos of the people of Illinois not on board with this, but you still have him buck the system, right? It makes no sense, and it shouldn't be allowed, and I don't think it's not okay, in my opinion.
Talk, especially elected officials, about the issue of undocumented Americans, one thing that we can say is that we agree. Being undocumented is a problem. But our solution, instead of turning the military on our own people, is to
undocumented migrants are not your own people, and making sure that they're documented is not the answer. Some of these people are just so stupid, and I kind of like AOC a little bit, but no, you lost me with this one. It's very stupid of you, and it's very stupid of the other Democratic electorates or leaders or whatever you want to call them. It's very stupid.
Document them. To document the
citizens like Laken Riley were not protected down in Georgia. Emily, fancy flights is what our taxpayer dollars went to. Fancy hotels, our taxpayer dollars went to. Laken Riley's family is a tax-paying family. Their taxpayer dollars went to enabling the murder of their daughter. I know that sounds harsh, but these are taxpayer dollars that enabled a murder.
Our taxpayer dollars. The government has no income other than our taxpayer dollars. And the reality is that, much like forensic accounting and other crimes and other litigation, you can absolutely trace, just like we traced ghost guns, just like we trace everything ultimately from the seed of fraud, from the seed of crime, from the seed of someone saying nothing to see here. It is traceable, and the butterfly effect is real. And frankly, one life matters just as much as hundreds of thousands and millions. And so the fact that the mainstream media has been complicit in covering this up, I have on my phone a collection in preparation for this show of notes where NBC called it unfounded lies. The ACLU said lie after lie after lie. The verbs used about President-elect Trump talking about the porous southern border and the impact then, the direct impact on crimes and drugs on our communities and individuals like Laken Riley. The rampant crime has been brushed aside, downplayed, and called outright lies for now 4 years. And this is why the American people stood up and said no more, because they saw with their own eyes the rampant crime in their communities, the ghost flights, the other flights, the lies by the Biden administration of where our taxpayer dollars go. And now the collateral damage is unretrievable, because the collateral damage is lives like Laken Riley,
who had to fight for her life for 18 minutes.
The Biden administration was one of the worst administrations that we have had in the 21st century. And the Trump administration was one of the best administrations that we've had in the 21st century, the 20th century. There's a mandate by the people. And I can't stress it enough. I just can't talk about it enough. I know things are fun and games, but you have people losing their lives. You have sex trafficking. I have a daughter, and if you have children, I just don't understand what is the issue.
This is what we know from the watch she was wearing. You know, Harris, I want to pull up a picture of AOC. You'll remember this well. Her at the border. She's dressed in all white. She's crying, tears. This was during the Trump era. You know, where are her tears for Laken Riley? Where is the...
There is no tears. It's more about protecting the asylum seekers than the actual people of your country, which is baffling to me.
Gusto from President Biden to call Laken Riley's family. He was prodded into saying her name at the State of the Union. These tears need to go to American citizens.
Let's show up on Capitol Hill together as outnumbered co-hosts and ask her. Respect what the American people said loud and clear. And they were answering back to an offer by then candidate Donald Trump. Back in January, he was saying it. He's going to use the Illegal Aliens Act of 1798 to get rid of people in this country expeditiously. You can look at the litmus test that everybody had to pass under Obama, and that was if you committed another crime coming into this country after breaking in illegally, he would deport you, and he did. Got the nickname Deporter-in-Chief. Trump's going to...
But nobody's talking about that, right? Obama deported more people than Trump did, but we aren't talking about that, right? Deporter-in-Chief is what he was called. Deporting illegal immigrants is nothing new, but the Biden administration and the ex-candidate for president, Kamala Harris, they're the reason why it is the way it is right now. And Trump's tasked with fixing that. But you got people on the other side who does not want that to happen. I don't understand. I just can't for the life of me understand it.
Keep the promise that he made to American people, and people are expecting him to do that, and even some Democratic mayors would like for him to get with it.
So speaking of that Democratic mayor, in this case of Boston, Mayor Wu, Charles, and then you have the governor of Massachusetts there, Governor Healy, and they're all saying we're going to buck the Trump administration. Let's pull up this ICE.gov headline. This is under the tenure of Biden, by the way. This is Biden's ICE. ERO Boston arrest Colombian citizen charged with sex crimes against child. The next line of that is local jurisdiction refused to honor immigration detainer and released non-citizen back into the community. This is in their community.
Yo, these people are sick. I cannot make this up. They are sick. Okay, you got illegals molesting children and raping women.
And they can't find it within themselves to say, let's get the criminals out.
Almost every one of those sound bites, you heard them saying, all these elected officials, we're going to protect our citizens. Someone who broke into this country illegally is not your citizen.
That's right.
They committed a crime to get here. Listen, I understand why anybody in the world would want to live in America.
Yep.
But we have rules to get into this country. And when I see these kind of attacks, to a degree, we have to say these elected officials are aiding and abetting. And I mean, they have aided.
Absolutely, sir. Aiding and abetting criminals, people who've committed crimes. The illegal immigration is one of the biggest threats to our national security. We don't even know who's coming over here. Now what? That is people coming to your schools. You got these people coming to your neighborhoods. We don't, Colorado, come on, Denver.
And abetted these crimes, these horrific crimes. They're part of it. They've allowed it to happen. They've encouraged it to happen. They put up this sign saying, welcome, if you can get into the country and into my city or my state, I'll protect you. I mean, they are culpable. As culpable as like someone robbing a bank and a getaway driver. They're as culpable as that person. And you know, you think about some of the things that they do and use to try to say, hey, this is okay. There was a report that circulated this year about how illegals in this country commit few crimes. But if you looked at the report and you took out folks who came here from Asia on college visas out of the picture, the numbers swelled. I mean, you know, we know that we're the
and look at that. They use all kind of manipulation tactics to actually hide the real issues to protect people that are not citizens of their towns, their state, their colleges. If you're still Democrat, if you still support this liberal mess, then you're complicit with what's going on in our country.
Criminals are coming from. We know who the criminals are. Right. Why do we keep letting them into this country?
Yeah, they're subverting the will of the American people. I mean, we know that Trump has been given a mandate to do this. And yes, I'll say it, mass deportations. That's what people voted for. People voted for the economy and they voted for the immigration issues. And it just lays bare the bankruptcy of the Biden-Harris administration's policies. They're not working. This is a humanitarian crisis. We know that the Biden administration has lost track of tens of thousands of migrant children.
300,000.
Yes, a national security crisis for women and girls, as we've seen. So get Tom Homan in there to clean up. He's going to be the border czar, and he's actually going to claim it because he's going to take responsibility.
And he's going to do a hell of a job.
By the way, 300,000 is what they admit.
Right.
What they admit.
Right. Tom Homan, Stephen Miller, they are going.
How do you lead? You're so fixated on bucking Trump and Republicans this, Republicans that, but you lose track of 300,000 children. Why can't you understand that this is an issue? Here to seek asylum to feel safe, but what happened? Because of their failed policies, they're missing, and there's no telling where these children are. There's nothing good involved. Who's to say? Who's to say? And it is. These people are so stupid. Oh my gosh, they are so stupid. In other news, we got Ukraine.
World War III.
Breaking news out of the war in Ukraine. Fox News can confirm that Ukrainian forces have struck Russia using long-range U.S.-made missiles. President Biden approved their use just days ago. Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin is approving a revised nuclear doctrine that lowers the threshold for a nuclear response. Meanwhile, our NATO allies, Finland and Sweden, are now telling citizens to prepare for war. Sweden out with this new video informing residents on how to stockpile food, baby food, medication, and how to seek shelter during a nuclear attack. Sweden also sent out more than 5 million of these pamphlets there on your screen. And Finland posted one on its website, both urging citizens to prepare for the possibility of war and how to prepare for such. Kara, frightening developments. What do you say about this specific response by Finland and Sweden?
Well, I think it's going to further impress upon them the need to really take control of their own security situation. As we know, the United States has been providing that security blanket for a lot of these NATO countries for so long. This is a wake-up call. You know,
All right, I'm just going to stop the video there, and I just want to say it's clear that this current administration and other democratic cities and officials, they hate Donald Trump more than they love our country, and it's starting to really bother me, and it's insane to me that it's other people can't see this. Why and oh why? After 2.5 years, you as commander-in-chief, you decide to allow rockets to go into Ukraine now. The 62 days until Donald Trump takes office, and they're doing everything and openly saying that they will do and fight the upcoming administration. I don't know, you guys. It's really mind-boggling to me that we live in a country where it was all about Trump's a threat to democracy. This is the end of democracy. Hitler, XYZ. But you have everyone and their mothers straight up say that they're gonna oppose the administration. It makes no sense to me, and to me, that is a recipe for things to get bad really quickly. And I hope that's not the case. But we'll have to see as time goes on. But I'm gonna end the video here. If you enjoyed the content today, please feel free to like the content, share the content, and even drop a comment down below. Until next time, peace, love, and fish grease. I'll see you guys on the next video.